Okay. So all right. Okay. So I want to begin today. Before we begin, with a question.
All right.
What's something in church that made absolutely no sense to you as a kid? We can't have dead air.
You're
like
right.
this.
Well, but you popped this question on me. Okay, something that made no sense to me as a kid. I would probably say the Trinity, and it still boggles me to this day. Like, I just don't get it.
I thought you were going to go funnier.
Oh, sorry. I'm not. I didn't know that was meant to be a joke.
You know, it doesn't make sense to me now. Why do we keep the bathroom doors propped open here at Lincoln Way?
Yeah, I don't know why we do that either, but
I don't know. Anyways.
It's tradition.
Yeah, tradition. Yep. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
All right. Well, I'm Chris Bachman, and this is Steve, and we are on week 3.
Welcome to Not for Sunday Mornings. You're supposed to introduce the podcast.
I was. We're on week 3 of Not for Sunday Mornings, right?
Yes.
All right. So
today I get to be the host.
Yeah, because I preached, so I get to be in the hot seat on this one.
Chris preached on Sunday. You did a great job.
Thank you.
We always begin with some things that the host liked about the sermon, so we're going to skip that section.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm kidding. What I liked, a couple of things you said, a rectangle and a rectangle, which I thought was pretty funny. You're like a rectangle and a rectangle. That was a little thing. I like that you quoted me, context before content.
Yeah, well, I try to.
Everybody, man, what the heck?
No, I do that, and I try to do that intentionally because
I stole that from Gary Johnson. So
well, yeah, but it's a thing, like, and it's a legitimate thing, and since you go every week, I want to honor you in doing that too, you know. So
when I was at youth this last week for camp, and I said it during that, and they repeated it. It was awesome.
That was the first time actually that anyone has ever filled in the content portion for me. Yeah,
really?
like because I do toss it in almost all my sermons.
Because I stop, I make them. I don't let.
Oh yeah.
I like context before.
No, they kind of jumped on. I gave maybe a beat, you know, but.
The one thing I did like all that, but you made a comment. You said the cross becomes decoration, and I thought that was a neat way you phrased.
Oh yeah,
the way you phrased that was really cool because it can just become a decoration. So that was good. I thought it was good. I enjoyed the sermon. I took lots of notes, and I have some things to push back on in a little bit. But before we get there, one of the questions we ask every week is what didn't make the sermon. Now you talked for about 4 hours, so I think a lot did make the sermon, but.
I was right in that 30 minutes. I think I was a minute over, good. Actually. I did pretty good.
You did good.
It was tight.
That's a running joke.
Because it is a running joke for us. Because it's true.
It's not.
It is. I do talk a lot. I'm not going to deny that. Because it's funny, too, because when I write and you write, like your word count's usually like 4,000.
Oh, 4,500.
4,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a 3,000, actually less than 3,000 word.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
You talk so slow.
Yeah, that's what my wife says too.
No, I'm 4,500. If I'm not at 4,500 gets me 25 minutes of sermon.
Yeah, and 3,000 got me like 27 plus. Yeah. Like when I timed it on Saturday before, it was 27
you do
every
a lot
time.
of pauses? Like a lot of
I do pause. I mean, I'll always go back to when I get up on stage, like and talk, or anytime I talk in front of people. I think a little theater background comes in, and knowing how to let things hang and give people the opportunity to think. I think teaching helped with that a lot too, because like when
this is your backwards way of telling me I don't know how to.
No, but we have different backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
And in all honesty, most people who don't know, like, you kind of stumbled into this position.
Oh, stumble's a rough word.
You're right. It's not fair to say that.
God's calling.
It is God's calling, but I mean, before you did this, like, how long did you deliver pizzas and make pizzas for?
Yeah.
Like, how old were you when you stopped doing that?
I don't remember. I was trained in the real world.
You were. But you were. I mean, in all honesty, like, I remember when Jeff.
How did this not make the sermon?
I don't. Sidebar, rabbit trail.
Oh, Lord, it's going to be a long one.
It will. I remember when Jeff had you start preaching here, and I mean, you had no formal training or anything in that.
No.
So
neither did King David.
Yeah. Well, that's a good person to compare yourself with.
I'm just saying.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think I just had more experience in that.
Yeah. But I did grow up with some theater though too in high school and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but not to the. But anyways, what didn't make the sermon?
Okay, so what didn't make the sermon? So there was actually a lot. It's tough. Like and this is again, I'm a lay pastor, and so I have no formal training except for what I've taught myself, and in just the years I've been in church. And so, you know, this was the gospel message sermon. Like, and I've never, you know, we always try to tie the gospel message in because it should be, but this was just a flat out, this is the gospel message. And it was tough because there's a lot that you can say about the gospel. You know, you can be very short and very pithy, right? Like, if we were going to answer the question, why did God die? And we could have said he died for your sins, walked away, and had the rest of the afternoon to do whatever we wanted to, right? And so, but to get people to really understand it. So, you know, there was a few things that it really talking about the mercy seat. So the Ark of the Covenant, like it's really interesting. There's a Greek word that is used, and it's not quite known when and how to translate it fully. It's like hysylion or something like that.
Okay.
And one of the translations is the mercy seat, so in reference to the Ark of the Covenant. The other is atonement. And so they don't know when to translate it as atonement or when to translate it as mercy seat sometimes in the Bible. And it's funny that they both have that same meaning. That word is used for both of those, and then you start to look at, because I didn't use the word atonement really, except for day of, right? So going into that depth of the Ark of the Covenant and the Day of Atonement, and that word atonement means covering, which is where it makes sense. Like the mercy seat is part of the covering of the ark and whatnot. So it was one of the things I kind of left out of there. Just because it got bogged down a little bit in there. And then definitely could have gone a lot more into depth of like the importance of Christ as the sacrifice. Like Hebrews is a beautiful book. And I know, you know, it's one of my favorites, and it's one I study a lot. And I'm still don't even feel like I know it that well. And so, but one of the messages Hebrews brings together is it ties the idea of who Christ is, and the fact that he's a perfect sacrifice, and he's the high priest, and he has all these different things that make what he did important and special. And so it's hard to dig into that in 30 minutes kind of situation. So
that was good.
Yeah.
Is that all? Or okay.
Yeah.
So I got some stuff I want to push back on.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a segment we call "Can I Push Back?"
Can I push back?
We should have like boom, like words come up. We'll talk to our intern.
Yeah, that
so
intern.
Me. All right. You used to made this comment. You said forgiveness without justice isn't loving; it's corruption. That's what you said. Mm-hmm. So why, if God is all powerful, why couldn't He just simply choose to forgive? Why is justice so necessary?
Yeah. So that's an interesting point, because it kind of, I felt like when I was dealing with this and when you were dealing with who God is and as the first message, there's a lot of overlap, right? Mm-hmm. And so one of the key characteristics of God is his holiness and his justice. Yeah. And the way that we have to understand justice is not, it's hard to, when we talked about how do we understand God, it's hard to understand him fully. So it's hard to understand like how you can have a being that is so holy that has never experienced sin, because we don't live in that world, right? And so so because his holiness is there, he can't tolerate sin. So when there's sin in the universe, sin, I think I used the word once, it's rebellion, right? And so when you're in open rebellion against the king of the universe, how is he supposed to handle that, right? Yeah. And especially when it's something so egregious to him that he can't just ignore it, right? Yeah. So why it's not just, why it has to be justice, why there has to be justice, is because it's part of God's character. And and anytime you remove a piece of God's character, you move who God is. Like you diminish him as a person. Okay, then why all the blood? So if nobody reads, if someone hasn't read Leviticus, the whole system feels a little strange. So why animals? Why couldn't God have created a different path, a different way? I mean, why the blood? So that's actually a great question, because I know the blood is never, like, blood is alluded to throughout the Old and New Testament in reference to sacrifice, but it's never explained why specifically. But as you read through, there's little hints that are dropped. So like one of the things is that the Jews and Christians are not supposed to eat blood because God commands that the life force is in the blood, right? And so that's an Old Testament commandment, but it's renewed in Acts underneath the Jewish council and everything like that. And so one of the thoughts is that because the life force is in the blood, that's why blood. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Well, if you...
So I can have a hamburger today?
Huh? You can have your hamburger, just don't eat it raw. Kind of. Well, I mean, you can eat it raw. Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like we have freedom to do everything, right? Like, but the Jewish council says refrain from eating blood. Like when they're talking about circumcision.
No steak tartare.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you do with blood sausage then at that point?
I don't know
right?
what blood sausage is.
That's an English.
I don't want to know.
English dish. Anyway, so the life force is in blood, and we are told that the wages. Romans tells us the wages of sin is death, right? And so, if death has to happen and the life is in the blood, then that blood is part of the rationale behind that is that blood is showing that the life has been given up for that, right? And why in animals? Because it was a form of mercy. In all honesty, like God was showing justice by the fact that there was death, right? But at the same time being merciful that it wasn't the death of the person who committed the sin. And so then there's the other side of because now the blood's there's a purifying side to it as well, like a covering almost. So like when they splashed it on the ark, you're creating a barrier essentially between the holiness of God and the sinliness of man and kind of blotting it out, which, we're washed in the blood of Jesus, right? Like,
washed in the blood. Washed. Oh, sorry, I won't say. Okay. Did God kill Jesus?
No. That's an easy one. Next. No. God didn't kill Jesus because Jesus willingly offered up himself for the sacrifice. Okay. And that's one of the things that makes a sacrifice so important is that he willingly did it on his own.
My last pushback is you said far too many Christians still live as though the veil is hanging.
Yes.
So what does that really look like? And then how do we know when we're acting like we have to earn God's approval? And what changes when we truly believe the veil is torn? So maybe that's too many questions at once, but...
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of addressed like a little bit of what it means to what it looks like when we think the veil is still hanging, because it means that we're fearful of God, right? Mm-hmm. Like we're afraid to come into His presence. We act like there's a separation between us, right? And so, but it's not there anymore, and that's the beauty. Like, and it's hard. I think it's something difficult because I think part of it is who we are, because part of that separation is shame, right? Like when we sin, we're ashamed of it, right? And so I think we treat God like we would treat anybody else. Like, I don't want to go to someone and say, hey, I sinned against you, or I sinned today, and here, like, there's a shame in that because I'm worried about how you're going to think about me and how you're going to treat me. Yeah. And so when we treat God like the veil's still up, we're still worried about how's He going to treat us? Like, is He going to, and again, I think we understand, but I think it's hard for us to comprehend. And so when we don't comprehend it fully, we treat it in the most basic way possible.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I got.
All those?
I think so.
Okay.
So the digging deep, this is our next segment, digging deeper.
Yeah.
This is when you, as the speaker, get to drill down on, it's kind of like the second segment, I guess.
They kind of go together, and that's all right. And there's nothing wrong with that. So one of the things that it was a part that I left out, but I think is worth digging deeper into it. So here, I'm going to ask you a question. What's the first recorded death in the Bible?
I would have to say the lamb that God killed.
I knew that. You preached on that once.
I preach on it all the time. So Adam and Eve leave the garden, and before they leave the garden. Now this is
part of why I left it out, though.
Because I use it.
You use it, and I figured you used it.
Actually, I used it at CIY this week.
Did you?
Adam and Eve leave the garden, and before they leave the garden, the scripture says that God clothed them. Now, how did He clothe them? But we don't know how He clothed them. So He could have just snapped His fingers and clothed them because He's God. A theory is that He killed a lamb and made clothes out of that lamb, and thus the first sacrifice. I mean, that's a spinny pretty little tail on it. Now we know that for sure, but
It is. You're right. And so there's a lot to unpack there, but
were you trying to get me on that? Like I wouldn't know.
I thought
Were you setting me up? Like
no, like when in all honesty, when I was writing, like I'm like Steve, I swear Steve has taught on this, and I'm like I'm not going to use it because Steve's
You
taught
should
on
have.
it.
People don't know.
I had a cut. Otherwise, I'd still be up there talking today. That's why I'm here today talking.
World's longest podcast. Right?
So there's a few interesting things about that when you look at when sin enters into the world, right? One of the things that again we worry about when it comes with God is that he's going to hate us, so he's not going to love us anymore, right? But what's the funny thing is it's Adam and Eve go and hide, right?
Yeah.
But God comes and looks for them,
He does.
even though
He does.
they sinned, right?
Yeah.
And then when you go and you tie into the fact that a lamb is sacrificed, right?
Yeah.
And there's this whole one of the names that is used for Jesus is the Lamb of God, right?
Yeah.
And so there's this whole cool thing about lambs, right? And so you go into Exodus and there's this daily sacrifice of lambs that has to happen every single day. And when you talk about the Passover, it's a lamb that's sacrificed, right? And why? And the question is why? What's the deal with lambs? And I think part of it's
What's the deal with lambs?
Yeah, it's innocence, right? The lamb is the cutest little tiny thing, right? And everyone thinks they're cute and adorable and fluffy and whatnot. But
that was my nickname in high school.
Was it Lamb?
Lamb.
Yeah, I can see that. So there's this innocence aspect to it, right? Like there's this beautiful innocence. And when you tie that into Christ, like Christ was innocent, right? He's the only one of us that has ever been innocent, right? Yep. And so there's this beautiful like string that just flows all the way from Genesis all the way to Christ's crucifixion.
Yeah.
That there's this idea of innocence. And so one of the things that makes his sacrifice so powerful is that he's innocent, right? The other side is it's his blood instead of the blood of something else, right? It's thirdly, it's the fact that he's the high priest. So this is really fun. He's the high priest offering the sacrifice, which is himself. Yeah. And no other high priest could ever do that.
No, that's true.
And that's true. There's this really fun idea of Christ's sacrifice, and we take and you break down all the components that we learn about sacrifice from Leviticus, that when you look at them in Christ, he just does it better. Yeah. And that's what brings that finality about on it.
That's awesome. Well, now this segment we call it quick fire. Is that all? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Quick fire questions. This is when I get to pepper you with some questions. I've got a few.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you have any or no?
I have a few, but yeah, go ahead. Let's see. Yeah.
You made a comment about movie trailers in the sermon.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to know what's the worst movie trailer ever.
Oh, the worst movie trailer ever?
Okay, give me the best.
Gosh, I love movie trailers. Well, it's hard because like they get you excited. So like right now, I think the Spider-Man movie trailer looks amazing. Like if you were asking me,
that's the best movie trailer ever.
That I've ever
Spider-Man.
seen.
New Day,
like
New Awakening, whatever it is.
I'm really excited. It's getting me really excited about the movie. In all honesty,
what's the worst movie trailer?
The worst movie trailer is okay. So this is an old one, the Twilight Zone movie, and it's got Albert Brooks in it in the trailer and Dan Aykroyd. Okay. And the reason why it's the worst is because I remember as a kid, my dad took us all to the drive-in theater. Used to be over here near Joliet. And I don't even know what movie we saw. I just remember the trailer playing, and it was freaky scary to me. And
why don't we watch it right now? Let's have our intern put it in.
You
right?
can go ahead. Yeah. Too bad we don't have that intern.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Another question. Oh, we're going back and forth, or what are we doing?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Do your question.
What's one misconception Christians have about the Old Testament?
Go. It's boring.
Okay. Number 3. Since you love Hebrews so much, what's your favorite verse in Hebrews?
Oh, see, here's where I thought you were going to get me earlier. But the part about Melchizedek.
That was last season.
It was last season. I thought you were going to bring it up.
Because-
In all honesty,
because
like I
of
was
the
prepped
moment.
for Melchizedek
What?
this week. Yeah,
Oh,
because
finally, you weren't last season.
I didn't mention Melchizedek once in my sermon.
Oh, you didn't,
and,
thank God.
And so I was
right,
waiting for you
favorite
to bring it up. Favorite verse is that we shouldn't. I can't quote it word for word.
That's not your favorite verse.
It is. So I have a problem memorizing verses word for word. Like it does.
Last week you sang a song from 1943.
I know because there's music. Music helps me.
Okay.
Because there are verses I know because of music, but
right. Okay, favorite
Anyway,
verse.
so there's it's Hebrews 10. I think it's 15, where we're told to enter. We're told to enter the holy space boldly.
We can boldly enter the
into the tabernacle,
Yep.
and because of Jesus,
Yep.
and so we have that opportunity.
All right, last Hebrews question.
Okay.
If Hebrews, well, maybe two Hebrews questions.
No,
First
that's
of all,
fine. That's all right.
If Hebrews, what
If
was
Hebrews coffee, what?
No,
oh,
if-
sorry.
the name of the author? What was her name of Hebrews?
What was her name? You took my class on that, didn't you? I forgot you sat through that.
Because,
we don't know the author of Hebrews, so there is potential.
Her name was probably
It is like there is, because we don't know. Like a lot of people assigned it to Paul.
Yeah.
But it was
Paul didn't write that.
But Paul didn't write it.
No.
But there's I think 4 or 5 different authors that have been tossed around for it, and one of them is the couple Priscilla and Aquila.
So potentially a woman wrote it?
Potentially, yeah.
So if potentially a woman wrote Hebrews,
Yeah.
then
Go ahead.
why then can't a woman be a pastor?
Oh wow, you're setting me up on that one. That's a whole podcast in its own
That's
right.
another
I would say watch Mike Winger's
That's another podcast.
14-part series on that.
And then talk to me.
Yeah.
Last Hebrews question. If Hebrews had one big idea, what is it?
Christ is superior.
Okay, that was easy. Those are all my questions.
That was easy. Yeah. So what does here's a couple that I just have for you really quick.
Quick fire.
Can guilt ever be useful?
Guilt. Yeah, I think guilt and shame are different. So yes, guilt is I did something wrong. Shame is I am wrong, or I am a wrong person. So like I'm the problem. So guilt. Yeah, of course, guilt. I think guilt is convicting, and when we do something wrong, we do something. Yeah, I don't think there's a problem with guilt. Yeah. Should there be? Should it be? Is that a wrong answer?
No, I don't know
Okay,
that's
good.
a wrong answer.
Okay.
I mean, because you and I talk about I think part of my message is part of what we've talked about in the past about people not seeing God, seeing their forgiveness as what it is, right? Like we still keep trying to earn God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a common theme that we kind of see there.
We're never good enough. We're never.
Yeah. So like,
even though Ephesians, because we are holy and blameless, which we are holy and blameless. Like that's the idea. When Christ comes in and takes over, God sees Christ, not us, and so we're holy and blameless. And so can we live like that? And that's what Christ has done for us. But embracing that is a whole nother problem and challenge. So I'm sorry.
No. I
Quick fire
think
questions.
it's
These are
worth
not
it.
quick.
Would you rather teach Hebrews or Leviticus?
I hate Hebrews. It's the stupidest book in the Bible. Leviticus all day, every day. In fact, I think let's announce it right now. Next year, we're doing a whole year, every sermon, Leviticus, chapter 1, all the way down, every verse
That'd
by
be
verse.
fun.
I'm down.
That's hard.
I'm going to do Christmas in Leviticus, Easter in Leviticus, New Year's in Leviticus.
You could.
Don't you challenge me?
No, I'm just saying.
If that's what you want to
that.
hear next year, put it in the comments. The one of you listening.
Isn't
and we will
Leviticus
weigh it.
normally where people fall off in the full reading of the Bible?
So that's why we got to bring it back.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
I would love it.
No, it's a great book. Like,
You know what?
all honesty.
Maybe right now that seems the best thing for next year. I don't have to get away and plan the year of preaching.
Back
I'm being
Insider
serious.
Baseball. What's the hardest section of a sermon to write for you?
I think the application part, because I've been often criticized by many sitting in this podcast that my sermons are too highbrow. All of a sudden I'm smart, which is stupid.
50% of that.
Are too highbrow, and they're not easily explainable to people to take home. And so I feel like that part of my sermons is where I struggle with. How do you tie in what was talked about? Sometimes I get really excited about the nerdy stuff, and then so I paint this big picture of like, ooh, but then to really bring it down to be like, and here's what this means this week. I think that's important. And so that's, for me, is probably challenging. Probably. And sometimes, I mean, it depends on the week. Sometimes the opening's the toughest, the ending, the middle.
Yeah.
Sometimes the whole thing is. I mean,
I know those.
it's never easy. So every week I question why I do it because it's very difficult.
It is nerve wracking. Like it's a hard thing. All right, last question I have. Favorite Indiana Jones movie?
I hate Indiana Jones.
Seriously?
I don't think I've ever seen one.
Really?
No, I am not. No, I haven't.
Wow. I'm just surprised because you're my age and.
Okay, Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom. Is that a movie?
Yeah, that is. That's the second one.
Okay, I don't even know. I don't even know. There's one where he chases a rock. He chases a rock, right? Or
the rock chases him. That's Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, how was the Rock in that movie back then?
Huh?
How was the Rock in that movie back then?
He's not that much older than us. So I'm
saying the Rock was in.
Yeah,
the Rock.
He's not much older than us, so he could have been in the movie.
So the Rock was chasing Indiana Jones.
Yeah, something like that.
You weren't picking up what I was putting.
No, I knew exactly what you were talking about. Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock. Okay, so as we ask these other questions, one thing people have to understand is they can ask us questions too.
Apparently, yeah, I just found that out this last week.
When we have it every year. Nobody ever uses it. Very few people use it. But we really would wish you to. So a couple ways you can send in questions. You can email us at the podcast. Email me, sbaker@lincolnway.org. Or you can, there's a little button that says ask us a question, and you can click on that and it sends a message. You can leave a comment on YouTube. That's way. So what we did this week, we did get a question.
We did.
And I'm excited about it.
Well, I'm excited about it too, because number one, it was a surprise to me when you sent it to me because I did not even know that we were putting that out there.
And I didn't send you the first. We actually got two questions. I didn't send you the first one.
Oh, we got two?
Yeah, the first one is, why is Steve so good looking? Sent in by S. Baker in Frankfort, Illinois. Well, S. Baker, I'm glad you asked. I've been trying this new skin routine.
Can you answer that question even?
Yeah, I've been trying this new skin routine.
You have?
Yeah. Okay, anyways, we do have a serious question.
There was a serious question. We don't know who it's from. It just said Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago asked this question.
If it's one of you in the church, we appreciate it. If it's outside the church, man, I'm really excited about that one.
How'd you find this thing?
Yeah, well, how'd you come across us? All right, so it says, I'm really enjoying the podcast. Wait, did you write this? You wrote this, didn't you? It's a bot, isn't it?
Okay.
All right, I'm really enjoying the podcast. My question is, what is your take on will we be married in heaven? I have a hard time believing that God would give me this covenant relationship with my wife that symbolizes Christ and his bride, the church, and then take it away from us after we die.
That is an awesome question.
It is a great question.
So,
you want to start?
I want to start, and I have a lot of thoughts on it. First, I'm going to read. So I always say when I have a question, we're going to go to the Bible. What does the Bible have to say? Yeah. And so Christ actually addresses this. He does head on in two different places. I'm going to read it in both times similar responses, but in Matthew chapter 22. Okay. I'm going to nerd out a little bit.
No, go.
So I'm going to read the thing, and then we'll talk about it. So, and Matthew 22, verse 23. The same day Sadducees came to him who say that there is no resurrection, and they asked him a question. They said, "Teacher, Moses said if a man dies having no children, his brother must marry the widow and raise up offspring for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers among us. The first married and died, having no offspring, left his wife to his brother. So to the second and the third, down to the 7th. And after all, the woman died. Which is probably what women live longer than men. She must have been killing those dudes. In the resurrection, therefore, of the 7, whose wife will she be? For they all had her. Ooh. But Jesus answered them, "You are wrong, because you know neither the scripture nor the power of God. For in the resurrection, they will neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven. And as for you, as for the resurrection of the dead, you have not read what you said to be by your God. I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. He is not the God of the dead, but the living." When the crowd heard it, they were astonished at his teaching. So Christ tells us there is no marriage in heaven. And so let's talk a little bit about that, though, because I think this is so beautiful. So again, we say context before.
Context.
Look at that. And so when we're reading this, Matthew's putting this argument in between two other arguments. First, the Pharisees are coming at Jesus, then the Sadducees. And you know why they're called the Sadducees?
Yeah, they're Sadducee because they don't believe in the resurrection.
Very good. And then after this, he has a fight with a lawyer. And so there's these 3 groups coming at him. Now, the Sadducees had this, you're very right, they had this belief in the resurrection. And so this whole thing here is a conversation about the resurrection. They're trying to catch Christ up in this conversation about, was the resurrection real, was it not real, and whatnot. So we're going to talk about the marriage thing in just a second. But before we get to the marriage thing, he does this thing here where he says, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. The Sadducees also believed in the first 5 books. That was the 5 books of the Bible.
Torah,
that was the books. That was it. And so Christ then pulls in those 5 books and he uses Moses, their boy, and he says, have you not read what was said to you by God? I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Now, Christ is saying this, that God is the God of, not God was the God of. And
Correct.
so in that saying already, how is he, these people have died years ago, how he's the God of, because Christ again is playing with this whole resurrection thing, that there is a resurrection. But now when it comes to being married in heaven, so I think when we think about, we try to connect things that we know here on earth with things in heaven. I think we're very short-sighted in doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like in heaven, there's not going to be any need for procreation.
Correct.
And so, which again is a big part of marriage, not the only part of marriage, but one part of marriage. I think that the love that we experience between spouses, which we think is so fantastic, and it is fantastic, it is beautiful. It'll be far more powerful when we get to heaven between God, and it'll be greater than the earthly marriage. Now, I also don't think that means relationships disappear, right? I think
Right, yeah.
that the intimate connections that we experience, they're actually going to expand because sin is going to be vanished. And so all relationships are going to be safe. They're going to be full of trust. Our primary relationship will be with God, but we're going to remain connected to one another. And our relationships are even going to be stronger. And where I kind of, again, try to be gentle here, but where I kind of drilled down on, where I came across this quote from C.S. Lewis, where he says, I'm going to read it the way he reads it and then kind of break it down. The reason why lovers in their carnal raptures don't bother about chocolates is that they have something better to think of. The boy knows chocolate. He doesn't know the positive thing that excludes it. We are in the same position. We know the sexual life. We do not know, except in glimpses, the other thing which in heaven will leave no room for it. And so again, we think of marriage, and he's equating sex and chocolate, but we think of marriage as this like, but we really have such limited view of what heaven is going to be like in regards to that. And so I believe Christ is pretty clear in here. He says that. One of the things he does say, though, and the people get a little confused, is he says we'll be like angels, not that we will be angels.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, I think people kind of have this thought when you die, you get your wings and
Right.
and that's hot garbage, but whatever. And so I think taking that apart, but that's kind of my answer, my long-winded answer to will you be married in heaven?
Yeah, I think Paul reiterates the temporariness of marriage also in Romans 7. He's using it as an example of us dying. Essentially, he talks about when a woman and a man are married and the man dies, the woman can go and get remarried without being called an adulteress because she's free from the law because he's died, right? So, so there's this point, like even Paul points to the temporariness. Like by design, it's just temporary, right?
Yeah.
And then marriage points beyond itself too, because Paul in Ephesians 5 says marriage is ultimately a picture of Christ in the church, right?
Yeah.
And our question person states that, right? Like it's this marriage. So if marriage is perfected in Christ and the church, then we don't need this. It's almost like the tabernacle, right? The Hebrews writes, the tabernacle was a shadow of things that were to come, right? So marriage is just a shadow of something to come that we just don't know. And again, it's hard to understand what that looks like because we just don't quite
we're so
really
limited. We're so limited.
grasp that. Luke does add in chapter 20, verse 36, that they cannot die anymore because they're equal to angels, like you said, and the sons of God being sons of the resurrection. And so there's, like you said, procreation's not really needed anymore because one of the primary purposes of procreation is to create a new generation, we don't need that new generation at that point.
Is that the only purpose?
It's not, no. So,
this is getting nerdy. I'm sorry, I opened this door.
So, old Catholic ideas were, that was the only purpose for it, right?
Not for having sex. I'm saying for procreation. Procreation means having a baby, right?
Yeah. So
not the act of it.
It's procreating is the act
really?
of yeah.
But I am so dumb.
That's all right. No.
Wait, really?
I think so. Yeah, I'm almost positive.
I see you do this where you think so. You say it was
look
such.
It up. Look up
no, we don't have time.
Okay, fine. Anyway, so so I agree with you 100% on it just changes what the relationship looks like.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the hard part. It doesn't mean that we are going to love that person any less when they're in heaven.
No.
In fact, we'll probably love them more.
We will
right?
love them more. It'll be full. It'll be complete. It'll be holy.
And so it's just that the relationship, right? Because again, it's till death do we part, right?
Yeah.
And at that part, it's done. It's over. And I know that's hard and that breaks our hearts here, but in heaven it's going to be totally different. Like, and it's just, So
I also, I don't want to come off.
It's hard.
I don't want to come off cold either. Cause I think that's because again, it can become off very callous and like, well, I don't want that to be the case. I just think that our view of heaven is so limited that we're looking for comfort in little things that I think it's going to be so much better and bigger than we imagine. And so take comfort in that, in my opinion. So
and enjoy it, just like we can enjoy what we have here now, right?
Yeah, enjoy every moment.
In all things.
Yep.
It's just one of those added benefits that God said, hey, this is right. And and I'll jump back to that reproducing part, because what's God's command? Go forth, multiply, right?
Yep, my favorite verse of the Bible. Okay, here we go. We're finishing up. So like we say every week, if you want a little more information, sign up for our email through the church. We send out little emails, reminders. We also have a daily devotional following the sermon series in the app if you download the Lincoln Way Christian Church app. We do have a sermon upcoming this week. Yep. And this week's question is one of my favorite questions, is why does bad things happen to good people? Why does God allow bad things to happen? And I think it's going to be a great conversation. This week we actually have a guest speaker, Dr. Silas McCormick. He's the president of Lincoln Christian Institute. He'll be in answering that question because it's too hard of a question for me to answer. So no, I'm just kidding. But it's going to be a great sermon, and I can't wait to hear his take on that. And then we'll be back next week talking about his sermon.
Yeah, kind of breaking it down. It'll be a little bit different next week since he won't be here and for us to pick on. But,
it'll be awesome. It'll be great.
But it'll be fun. So,
all
right, well,
fun.
Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you later.
Keep asking good questions.